Going to give them another point of view.
So everyone leaves today, bank documents for everyone to sign.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Montgomery Township Board of Supervisors meeting for March 23rd, 2026. I'm Tanya Bamford, Chair of the Board of Supervisors. On behalf of my board colleagues, I'd like to welcome you all, and I'm going to call the meeting to order. Please rise and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Moving on to announcements. We have a Bark Park update. Our dog park, affectionately known as our Bark Park, remains closed indefinitely due to the extremely harsh winter conditions which have left the area excessively wet and muddy. The grass has been significantly impacted and requires time to properly reestablish. Grow tarps are scheduled to be installed on the fields within the next couple of weeks to promote turf growth and recovery. Attempts to rotate field use have not been very effective, and the closure has not been consistently observed by park users, unfortunately, which has further contributed to the site deterioration. So the old Bark Park on Bell Run Boulevard is available for use in the interim. Any comments or questions from the board? All right. Moving on to agenda item 4, public comment. Persons wishing to make public comment during this meeting on any items not listed on the agenda may do so at this time. Please come forward to the microphone and state your name and whether you are a township resident or business owner.
Michael Washington, township resident. And this, I want to make a comment on my observations. Back in a couple months ago, Eric wasn't here. Tanya, you read a letter from Eric. No fireworks. Subsequent to that, Kansas reads letters, fireworks. Stop it, blah, blah, blah. Afterwards, Eric comes back. We should really have a motion on this. So it's interesting that when Eric makes it, he's seen up here, but all Montgomery Township residents, you're scum. You don't have a voice, okay? So Eric, is that the way you feel? That, you're above everyone else? You have special privileges? And if not, did you make that comment because Tanya instructed you? and you didn't think through, well, how's this going to be perceived that I have special attention? Just a thought.
This is an item on our agenda under old business, right? So, I mean, we can discuss it more then, or if you'd like to respond, you're more than welcome.
Well, this is a period for public comment. There's no response unless you want to respond.
Okay.
I'm happy to respond to that. So when I sent that letter, my name was attached to it. So it was identified that I made the comment. So what I'm asking the board is, when we're reading excerpts of emails that were sent to the board, should we have rules to identify the people who are making those comments? Wasn't comparing me to anybody else. I understand the perception, and thanks for bringing that up. But that's not what I'm saying at all. The other part of that was we also received emails as a board that had comments the opposite side of that issue that weren't read. So I'm just trying to put it out there so that the public comment is identified. And should we have rules of that? Because currently, our current policy on public comment is that people identify themselves and make the comment. So that was all I was saying, just to get consistency on it. So thanks for the observation, but I'm not above anyone. I'm here representing everyone. Yeah.
All right. Is there any other public comment at this time? All right, hearing none, we'll move on. We'll have our announcement of executive session next. Township Solicitor Sean Kilkenny.
Yes, thank you very much. The Board of Supervisors met at 6:30 p.m. this evening to discuss a matter of personnel in executive session, which is compliant with the Pennsylvania Sunshine Law.
Thanks, Solicitor. Agenda item 6 is our consent agenda. I'll move to approve the consent agenda as presented for the following minutes of the March 9, 2026 Board of Supervisors meeting, payment of bills for March 23rd, 2026, and escrow release number 12 for Westrom, Montgomeryville, the Luxor development. Is there a second?
Second.
Any public comment? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Agenda item 7, Valley Forge Tourism and Convention Board, America 250 update. Carolyn McCreary, Township Manager.
Good evening. This evening, Tessa Robinson, Communications Specialist for the Valley Forge Tourism and Convention Board, along with her colleague Asia, will present an update on America 250 and how they are supporting townships and boroughs by sharing available resources, promoting local historic sites and events, and collaborating to highlight community stories.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for having us this evening. We're excited to talk about our organization and also everything that's going on this year in a big year for America 250. We will just do a brief overview of our organization just in case anybody isn't sure what we do or what we're for. As I said, I'm Tessa Robinson, comm specialist, and I'm here with my colleague, Asia Kramer, who is our membership manager and heads our membership initiative. So to start, I always like to go over why we are called the Valley Forge Tourism Board opposed to the Montgomery County Tourism Board. A lot of people have that question. We do market the entirety of Montgomery County, not just the King of Prussia or Valley Forge area. And that's because we call ourselves Valley Forge because there are actually 18 Montgomery counties throughout the United States. So we do have a sales team that goes both nationally and internationally to try to garner business for the area. And they found that when they go overseas or to other states, the Valley Forge name is a lot more recognizable for people. They understand that that's outside of Philadelphia versus Montgomery County could be any one of the 18 on the list. So again, we always strive to market the entire county, not just the Valley Forge area. It's just for a little bit of recognition. As you can see on the slide, this is our mission and our vision statement. Our mission is to inspire the world to fall in love with Montgomery County, and our vision is a must-experience destination rooted in the past and leading the future. just a brief overview of our organization. We do have a marketing side and a sales side. So when it comes to our marketing side, that's where I work. We have a lot of in-house options available to our members and also just to the county as a whole. So we have a social media with over 300,000 followers. Our digital marketing team handles our website and all of our e-blasts and those sort of things. We do have about a local list of about 250 press contacts. So for any businesses that are trying to get word out or word out about their events, we can help them with some local press coverage. We have a co-op program, which Asia actually runs that as well. So if you want to, you can talk a little bit about that. We have an in-house creative team. Our graphic designers do an incredible job with all of our advertisements and kind of keeping our brand consistent. And then we also have a mascot, Monty. He's a fox, and he helps us promote the county and our brand as well. And then here's just a little snippet of a video that we did last year to promote our Montco Makers Passport, which is basically you log in at different breweries and distilleries around the county, and then you get points and you can get like cool swag. Do we not have sound? It's okay if not.
Our IT
That's all right.
person is
So basically,
they're in
this
a
is
closet back there, but
Moving from out.
this is basically just a hosted video that we did at Vonsea in Norristown, where we just went over. We invited them into the brewery. We went over how to check into the Montco Makers Passport, and we work on a lot of video content like that for socials and our website in order to promote some of the initiatives that we have going on. We also have our digital and print publications. So we have a visitor's guide, our Crave guide, and our arts guide, which we create every year. We refresh it with all of our members in the back. And then we also highlight some of the cool things going on in the county. So these are distributed all throughout Montgomery County at some of those high traffic areas like the mall, the park, places like that, our hotels. As I said, members are automatically listed in the back, but then we also try to feature other cool things happening in the county too. Those digital guides are available on our website, and we give out about 200,000 copies of our print guides per year. When it comes to our website, we're very proud that we have over 3 million annual page views per year, and that's only rising. So that's kind of our one-stop shop for everything to do in Montgomery County. Hotels, things to do, restaurants, all of that. We also market all of our members there. We do blogs and listicle style for things to do in the spring, things to do in the summer, all of that sort of thing. And then our consumer e-news has over 17,000 subscribers, where we regularly send out news to our residents and visitors. For social, this is a video of we recently did with our videographer partner at Spring Mountain, which was pretty cool. We were finally able to highlight them. There it is. So we have a yearly retainer with our videographer partner, and we like to feature different areas of the county and cool things to do, and a little bit higher produced content. As I said before, we have over 300,000 total social followers across Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and LinkedIn. And then we see about 25 million video views per year. Hopefully that's only growing even more this year. And now I'll turn things over to Asia. She's going to talk a little bit about our membership and events.
Yeah, so as Tessa said, we're a membership-based organization. We have nearly 600 local businesses across the county who are currently working with us. It includes hotels, restaurants, attractions, retail shops, services, basically anyone that wants to be a part of this amazing audience that Tessa was just referring to. So we just kind of help them expand their reach beyond local and more to the visitors that are coming in. They find a lot of value in the benefits that we offer, and it's a lot of what Tessa just went over. It's exposure on social media, being listed in the printed publications, having a presence on that website. They all get personalized landing pages. So again, a ton of great benefits. And there's Monty actually too, the mascot that we were talking about at the bottom there, Monty our fox. Another huge benefit is them making all these connections at our annual events that we host throughout the year. So some of the big ones coming up, we have Rev Run on April 19th. It's our 20th annual revolutionary run through the national park, Valley Forge National Historic Park. We do it as a give back to the park. It's such a national treasure right in our backyard. So all of the funds that we raise through this race go directly towards making park improvements.
I've done the Rev Run in the past.
Yes,
it's a good
yeah,
run.
It's not easy. It's a very hilly run.
It's hilly. It's silly.
But there's a lot of great
beautiful.
ways for businesses to be involved too. We have a finish line experience. So to be involved in the community and to give back to that park is truly a great experience. Our travel rally is a way that we celebrate National Travel and Tourism Week. It's every May. This year it's on May 26th. And that's followed up by the annual Montco Golf Classic at White Marsh Valley Country Club. It always moves around to different great country clubs and golf courses in Montgomery County. We have over 52 golf courses, and we're really there to celebrate golf and all the great events that we have there. Montco meetups are like our smaller membership networking events, a great opportunity for the members to meet our team and network with each other and make some great connections. And then our biggest is our annual luncheon. It's on October 29th this year. We have over 700 members and community partners that attend that. It's a great way to get an update from our team on what we've accomplished for the year, but also what we're working towards in the future too. We also have our Montco Jazz Fest. It's a celebration of music and arts and culture. It's a week-long celebration that we host across several different venues throughout the county. So we're always looking for other members or local businesses. Doesn't even have to be like a music place, restaurants or breweries participate too, to be participants. So we're looking to grow that every year. Super excited for that. It'll be in September. And then near and dear to our heart is Freedom from Hunger. This is our annual give back to raise awareness for the food insecurity in the county and also to raise funding. So we partner with the Montco Anti-Hunger Network. You know, it grows every year, the need and the amount of people that are affected. It's never going to go away, but we truly believe that everyone in the county should have these resources available to them. We do partner with our members and local businesses to help raise that funds. So we'll have businesses that donate like $1 per coffee for a specialty coffee for a certain month, or a percentage of sales for a specific week. So again, always looking for more businesses to get involved and to help us truly make a difference through that initiative.
Thank you, Asia.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to talk a little bit about America 250 and what's going on this year, which is I know what you all want to hear about. So we do have our new commercial spot. It's about a minute long and it focuses on the history of Montgomery County. So I'll play that.
With a spark. And in Valley Forge in Montgomery County, Pennsylvania, a retreat reignited a revolution. Centuries later, the history that was made here still shapes our landscape with stories waiting to be discovered. These sacred halls and hallowed grounds are alive with the memory of world-changing events, echoing forward for future generations to hear. An opportunity to turn back the clock and witness history march off the page and into our imaginations. On our country's momentous 250th anniversary, it's time to reconnect, to remember, and to reignite our own spark on a retreat unlike any other. In Valley Forge and Montgomery County, we honor our past. We celebrate the present and build the future together.
So our campaign slogan this year is Retreat to Valley Forge, and that's kind of a play on what George Washington did with his troops. He retreated, they regrouped, they trained. So we're kind of saying, you know, bring your family out. A lot of people are going to be in Philadelphia for a lot of the major events that are happening. So we want people to know that Montco is there. We have lots of space. We have the park. We have free things to do, budget-friendly things for families, and to escape some of the chaos of the city and come out to every corner of Montgomery County. As a part of this initiative, we have created something called the Houses of Declaration, and this will happen over the 4th of July weekend, July 3rd through the 5th. And basically, they're just live readings of the Declaration of Independence. So we currently have 23 venues secured for that weekend that are going to be reading, having a reenactor or somebody, wear a hat, have a scroll, and read the Declaration of Independence, which is pretty cool. That was inspired from the fact that that's how people would have heard it back in 1776. You would have been at your pub, your local event in the town square where you would have heard that initially. So we're really excited about that. We are still accepting other venues if they want to participate. So I can put you in contact with the right people if you have any ideas for hosting one or something that might make sense for that.
Do you know the North Wales location?
I don't off the top of my head, but I could get an answer for you pretty
Because
easily.
it could be us.
I was going to say it may actually be Montgomery. You know,
Because as you know, there are a lot of Montgomerys,
Yes.
like here.
Yes, exactly.
And we were first, by the way.
I believe it.
70 years before.
There you go.
But yeah, North Wales shares a zip code. We have a zip code of Lansdale or North Wales.
Okay.
So it's possible it's actually here. Do we know that?
Whether it's at Knapp Farm.
They went to North Wales Borough and made a presentation. I think it's actually in North Wales, but
think-
since you bring up Knapp Farm,
Mm-hmm.
that would be, I can 100% hook you up with Knapp Farm.
Sounds
We
like
have a
we should
historical
add that.
society
Yeah.
and we have a,
Mike's not.
yeah. Oh. We have a local historical society with a Knapp farmhouse, lots of history there, which would certainly fit into this as well. And we could be Montgomery Township
Absolutely.
for sure. And also another good option would be Joseph Amblin. I'm just thinking of historical areas. So that it's a really nice venue. They have new owners and they've
We
just
just
did
met them
major
recently,
renovations.
actually.
It's really, really
Yeah.
nice. It has
so.
more parking there as well.
It
Yeah.
does. Yeah.
So
Yeah, so our colleagues Kirsten and Hannah handle our Houses of Declaration initiative, so we can put all of you in contact with them and
yes,
get the ball rolling.
we'll do more than one. Yes, we know how to read. Thank you. That would be great.
Awesome. In conjunction with our Houses of Declaration initiative, Valley Forge National Historic Park is celebrating 50 years as a national park on July 4th. It's actually pretty cool. They're the only national park that shares a birthday with our country. Gerald Ford signed them into the NPS on the 4th of July 50 years ago. So they'll be celebrating that all weekend. There will be programming and events, reenactments, educational opportunities happening at the park. So we expect to see a lot of families that weekend. And that's kind of why we coincided with the Houses of Declaration, because hopefully there'll be a lot of people here. We're also gearing up for 27 and 28 because that will actually be the 250th anniversary of George Washington's encampment. When they marched in and when they marched out will be 27 and 28. So at the end of this year, America 250, there is much more to come specifically for Montgomery County, which is pretty cool. We are also part of something called the Highways of Heroes. This is a Pennsylvania statewide initiative, basically highlighting the 6 largest historical sites throughout the state. So Valley Forge National Historic Park was included in this, which is really exciting. It begins in, I believe, either end of March or early April and goes for a full calendar year where travelers have the opportunity to visit all 6 locations. And if you check in and prove that you were there at all 6, you get a commemorative coin set. So that's those 6 icons to the left of the screen. There's one specific for Valley Forge National Park, which is cool. And it's just a little bit of a collector piece that we're proud to be a part of this year. And then I know this is very hard to read. There's a lot going on. It's not really meant to be read. It's more so just meant to show you how much is happening in our area this year. So this is split up by location. It's split up by different partners of ours, big events versus regional events. But again, it's more so just to show you how much is happening this year and how much we plan to capitalize on these major events and bring people out into Monco. So even though maybe half of the things on this calendar aren't happening in our county bounds, we're still very, very hopeful that we can entice people to retreat to Valley Forge and to come out. And that our goal is to push people into every corner of the county. We have over 80 hotels, 100 miles of trails. We have, I think, close to
Free parking.
free parking.
Is a big. I mean, when you stay in the city, right, you're paying $60 a day sometimes.
Yeah.
So we say family friendly, free parking, all of those things to attract people to come out our way.
And that is our goal is from everywhere from Ambler to Conshohocken, Pottstown, Montgomery Township, everywhere in between. We're trying to push people out to. And a lot of our web content and our social content is helping with that, as well as some other things. So that is all we have for you today. Thank you again for your time. We really appreciate it. And if you have any questions, please let us know.
Great presentation.
Yeah, that was great.
Thank you.
Is there a certain date that we're doing the reading? Is it on the 4th of July?
It's that weekend. So the 3rd through the 5th.
3rd
And
through 5th?
they did that specifically because there's a lot happening on the 4th of July. So
Right.
if you already have plans or you're out of town, you know,
We
they
can
wanted
do
to
it
have
around.
Yeah.
Did you want to ask? Did you want to make the ask for Makeda?
Oh, I think, yeah. Yeah, we are doing a statewide convention right now for Montgomery County Association of Township Officials. And we,
It's the PSATS conference.
PSATS conference statewide.
Okay.
So we do a basket of things that are Montgomery County oriented. And so I think that Tony Hamaday is probably asking already, but we would love to have anything that we could give that to kind of brand ourselves to Montgomery County. That would be amazing.
Absolutely.
Yes.
We can definitely do it. We have,
We have
I'm
some fun
actually-
swag.
Yeah, I'm actually going to be sending a box of some of our America 250 swag to you all this week. So you can look at what's in there. We have other options too. I mean, we have tons of swag. So yeah, whatever you need, we're more than happy to.
Every
help with that.
county association brings a big basket to this conference.
Have the best one.
And
We
yes,
want-
Montgomery County needs the best one.
Right, there's bragging rights involved.
And we can even probably like connect you with some of our members that would donate things to, like Asher's Chocolates always donates things,
yeah.
anything that's branded
Right.
like that, some breweries, wineries, maybe.
As well
happy to
as
do that.
anyone that would have a coupon towards that means it
Yeah.
would drive business. Okay, that's what I want to do is like saying, oh, come to Montgomery County and to have a taste of this and then come and visit us. So
We can definitely help with that.
that would be great. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from the board? Okay, thank you guys.
Thank you so much.
All right, moving into planning and zoning with agenda item 8, declaring the invalidity of a portion of the Montgomery Township zoning ordinance due to the lack of data center use provided for in the zoning ordinance resolution 2026-05, Carolyn McCreary Township Manager.
Thank you. The township solicitor has advised that many municipalities are considering passing data center ordinances to better regulate the location and site requirements for them. Currently, our zoning ordinance does not contain a provision for data center use, and he has recommended a resolution that, if adopted, would declare our zoning ordinance substantively invalid and initiate the process to remedy it. So it is the recommendation of the township solicitor that the board adopt resolution 2026-05.
Any questions or comments from the board? All right, hearing none, I'll move to adopt resolution 2026-05 to declare a portion of the Montgomery Township zoning ordinance substantively invalid due to the failure to include a data center use and to prepare a curative amendment to overcome such invalidity. Second, is there a second?
Second.
Comments or questions from the board? Any public comment? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And agenda item 9, consider award of contract for the 2026 curb and ramp projects. Greg Rife, or Greg's not here. Carolyn McCreary, Township Manager.
Thank you. The township received and opened bids utilizing Penn Bid on March 3rd at the Township Building. Gilmore and Associates, our township engineer, reviewed the 11 bids ranging from $395,460 to $625,800 and is recommending award of the bid to NJS Concrete LLC, the lowest responsible bidder, with a bid of $395,460. The recommendation letter and the bid tabulation sheets are included in your packet. Gilmore and Associates does have experience with this particular contractor. A total of $524,000 was included in the 2026 capital investment plan for the repair and replacement of concrete curbing and handicap ramps. The staff is recommending that the bid be awarded as recommended to NJS Concrete LLC. And just as a reminder, this is concrete work that will be done in advance of road paving that would be done in 2027, so that we don't have contractors pushing up against each other and trying to rush through and get things done. This has worked successfully for us in the past. Additionally, any concrete that's been identified by complaints that come into Public Works is included in this. There's always a little bit extra to accommodate those, but this is primarily neighborhoods that are going to have concrete work done.
So if residents note particular areas of curb that are deteriorating, that aren't along roadways that are going to be paved, would this be addressed now, or is this going to be just addressed on a case-by-case basis?
If they have notified the township and we have gone out there and identified that it is in fact an issue, then it is added in with this so that it would be done. Any complaints that we receive, even if we get some, because that's not really a material in nature, it's not going to affect the bid adversely. There's some money in there for what miscellaneous repairs like that. They just determine, one, does it need to be replaced, or is it something that's aesthetic? And two, is it the township's responsibility?
And if a resident is aware of that sort of a circumstance in their particular neighborhood, what's the best way to go about notifying the township?
There is something on our website that they can report it. And also, if they aren't comfortable with that, they can call the township office and they'll be transferred to Public Works and they'll take the information and send someone out to look at it.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments?
And this contractor, like the engineers work with them at like have experience doing curbs?
Yes, they do.
All right. Hearing no other comments from the board, I'll move to award the contract for the 2026 curb and curb ramp project to NJS Concrete LLC, the lowest responsible bidder, in the amount of $395,460 per the recommendation of Gilmore and Associates Township Engineers. Is there a second?
Second.
Any public comment? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to agenda item 10, consider the award of the contract for the 2026 in-place paving projects. Carolyn McCreary, Township Manager.
The township received and opened bids utilizing Penn bid on March 3rd of this year at the Township Building. Gilmore and Associates, the township engineer, reviewed the 10 bids ranging from $1,063,522.50 to $1,510,008.80 and is recommending award of the bid to James D. Morrissey, Inc., the lowest responsible bidder, with a bid of $1,063,522.50. The recommendation letter and bid tabulation sheets are included in your packet. The 2026 budget includes $1,454,000 in the state liquid fuels fund for this project. So we came in significantly under the bid, and the award is it's recommended that we award the bid to James D. Morrissey Incorporated, who we have significant experience with in the past.
Any questions or comments from the board? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to award the contract for the 2026 in-place paving project to James D. Morrissey, Inc., the lowest responsible bidder, in the amount of $1,063,522.50 per the recommendation of Gilmore and Associates Township Engineer.
So moved.
Second.
Any public comment? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Agenda item 11, consider the award of the contract for the tennis court improvements at Wendell Street Park, Rose Twig. Carolyn.
The township received and opened bids utilizing Penn bid on March 3rd at the Township Building. Gilmore and Associates, the township engineer, reviewed the 9 bids ranging from $201,519.50 to $292,304.45 and is recommending award of the bid to Harris Blacktopping, Inc., the lowest responsible bidder, with a bid of $201,519.50. The recommendation letter and bid tabulation sheets are in your packet. A total of $321,000 was included in the 2026 capital investment plan for the tennis court improvements at Wendell Street Park, Rose Twig. The staff is recommending that you award the bid as recommended by Gilmore and Associates to Harris Blacktopping, Inc. And Gilmore and Associates, again, has experience with them. The township does not, and they have made the recommendation. And this would be the stone dust overlay that has been done in the past.
Nice to see it's significantly under budget. Any other questions or comments from the board? No? All right. I'll entertain a motion to award the contract for the tennis court improvements at Wendell Street Park, Rose Twig, to Harris Blacktopping, Inc., the lowest responsible bidder, in the amount of $201,519.50 per the recommendation of Gilmore and Associates Township Engineer.
Second.
Any public comment? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Agenda item 12, moving into public safety. Request authorization to purchase replacement patrol vehicle printers and printer mounts. William Peoples, Chief of Police.
Thank you. In 2026, the police department is scheduled to replace the computer printers and printer brackets in all the patrol vehicles. Funding for the capital replacement was approved in the 2026 final budget. Attached is a quote dated March 17th, 2026 from Patrol PC, an authorized vendor under the CoStar's Cooperative Purchasing Program for the purchase of replacement printers and printer brackets that meet the police department's specifications and requirements. The total cost to replace the above listed computers is $12,211.81. The total of $12,352.30 was included in the 2026 approved final budget police department capital replacement to purchase the above listed computers. It is recommended that the Board of Supervisors approve the awarding of the contract for the above reference purchase per the 2026 approved final budget.
Thank you, Chief. I'll move to award a contract for the purchase of replacement computer printers and printer brackets in all of the patrol vehicles from Patrol PC, and authorized vendor under the CoStar's Cooperative Purchase Program in the amount of $12,211.81 in accordance with their submitted quote. Is there a second?
Second.
Any public comment? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No. Motion carries. And moving on to Parks and Recreation. Agenda item 13 is the spring and summer 2026 recreation programs and associated fees. So Floyd, are you going to take this one?
Sure.
All right, Floyd Schaefer, Community and Recreation Center Director.
Good evening, everybody. Attached is for the proposed lineup of activity at the Montgomery Township Community and Recreation Center for spring and summer 2026. The recommended fees and charges are also included for your review. The schedule will be valid from April 1 through August 31st. All CRC activities and events will be publicized through our usual promotional channels and on social media. The lineup of recreation opportunities provides a diverse menu of positive activities, a wide array of healthy fitness sessions, fun community events, and unique educational programs will be offered to individuals and households of all ages and abilities. Our goal is to provide an all-inclusive facility for the Montgomery Township community to enjoy. It's standard procedure that all programs and fees are approved on a seasonal recreation programs by the board. Recreation opportunities are expected to be budget neutral. Staff recommends approval of the 2026 spring summer recreation program fee schedules amendment as submitted. If there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. There's a lot of programs. We do a lot of stuff.
When is the deadline for Kids U, or has it already come and gone?
It has come and gone.
Was it sold out in 5 minutes?
Not 5, it was about 6.5 or 7. We did it much smoother this year by doing it in some segments where returning people went, and then we got new people. And yesterday it was people from basically outside the township, and we took in a lot of money.
Great.
So now we have to run the program to justify that.
Sure. Complete faith you'll do it.
We're looking forward to it.
It's a great selection of different activities beyond, Kids U, which is so incredibly popular. But I really commend you for putting together such a great, array of different activities. For the ones that are just like on a given day of the week, how many weeks is the program? Like the youth program, that's $150 for a chess class, for instance.
Typically it's an 8-week session.
So they're like 8 weeks.
Yeah, we tend to run things in week sessions. It works better for a commitment rather than doing something on a monthly basis. People like to pick and choose, and we don't want to repeat. So we try newer things, but typically it's 6 or 8 weeks that we do things.
Is there any way to indicate that at this point now, but and it stuck out for me too because of the line dancing. I know that's like 5 weeks or 6 weeks or however long they do it. It's not one session, but is there a way to line dancing in 6 weeks next to it, or?
When they sign up, it shows when they register that it is a 6-week program.
Oh, okay. It just wasn't on this.
It's just not on here.
And that class has 3 people now. This session. So
yeah,
that's fantastic. Okay, excellent. Thank you so much, Floyd. I'll move to approve the 2026 spring or summer recreation program and fee schedule amendment as submitted. Is there a second?
Second.
Any public comment? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. Motion carries. All right, moving on to agenda item 14 and the approval of the new website conversion, hosting, and digital accessibility. Carolyn McCreary, Township Manager.
The township was notified that our current website host will no longer be providing this service as of December 31st, 2026. Additionally, the Department of Justice has mandated that state and local governments ensure their website content and mobile applications are accessible to individuals with disabilities in accordance with the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines, WCAG 2.1 Level AA. Only the federal government can put up something like that. But Ava, I looked it up to make sure I had it right. Inaccessible digital content means that individuals with disabilities are denied equal access to information. Our deadline to make this transition is April 27th, 2027. Ava Comaz, Rich Greer, and Fabian Zendejas have taken the lead on this project to identify the best vendor to host the website and ensure compliance with WCAG. Tonight, Ava is here, having returned from her European adventure, to make a presentation to the board this evening and answer any questions that you have for this. The cost of the project is $21,272 for the implementation, $8,878 annually. As staff were notified of this change after the 2026 budget was prepared, we have identified projects in the capital reserve fund that will be paused unless additional savings are realized in our actual costs versus what was budgeted for other purchases. Accessibility compliant monitoring and remediation will cost $12,160 and will be paid out of the general fund as part of our annual IT cost. So staff is recommending that the board approve the contract, and Ava is going to give you information tonight. She is the one who has been working on this diligently. She made a presentation to the Montgomery County Consortium of Communities the other week, and she had heads exploding, realizing that this is coming, and a lot of them weren't aware of it. And they also realized how fortunate we are to have not only Ava here for our community engagement side, but also to work on this with our IT department, which we're also fortunate to have in-house. So Ava, it's all yours.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. So I'm going to talk to you about the new township website. So to give you a little bit of background, as Carolyn said, we are currently using Core Business Technologies, but they announced in November 2025 that they would be discontinuing their content management system services, or CMS, on December 31st, 2026. So that does not give us a lot of time to work with, but that's okay. We adapt, we pivot. And so as a result, we do need a new website host, and in a collaborative effort between myself and the IT department, we are recommending GovStack by GHD Digital as the best fit for the Montgomery Township community. So the selection process. So as I said, we found out about this a little bit late, and the estimated length of the project is about 7 to 8 months. That's what we were hearing initially. So we had to act fairly quickly while still thoroughly vetting our vendors. And so this was kind of our step-by-step process. We first did our initial research. So who's out there, what are we looking at? And we looked at 9 different potential vendors to sort of dive into and do the research. That seemed like a good number. We tried to cover all of our bases. And we just did some initial research to analyze, are they a good fit for us just from the get-go? Do we like the style of their websites? Does it have the services that we need to serve our residents? And then after that, we scheduled some introductory meetings. So in that first round kind of gave us a sense of what we needed. We narrowed it down a little bit to 5 host companies, and we learned more about their background, what services they have to offer, additional products, and of course, digital accessibility capabilities. That is so important. Why would we create a non-accessible website when we can start fresh with this website? It's honestly, as much as it was unexpected, it's good timing in a way, because we're able to create a fully accessible website from the start. And then after that, we did some CMS demonstrations. So like I said, that's the content management systems. We met with 4 host companies for that to see all of their different usabilities. So that was front end and back end, editing, accessibility guardrails, and any security features, which is obviously very important to our IT department and to the community as a whole. And from there, we went into scope and pricing meetings. Obviously, we need to know how much this is going to cost and what it's going to cover. So we discussed the different packages they had to offer. Some had different tiers, different levels. You could do add-ons, sort of a la carte. And we had to determine the best fit for the stakeholders involved. And then after that, we did an internal review. So we met and did sort of a side-by-side comparison to look at the pros and cons of each site, what we were getting as a best value for the money, and determine what is our best choice, which narrowed us down to 2 providers. After that, we called some customers. We did a bunch of cold calls to various municipalities across the state, across the country, even some in Canada, and tried to get a sense of what the user experience is, because these are salespeople. Obviously, they're going to tell you the best features, but we wanted to get a real sense of what people were working with. And honestly, the cold calls were very helpful because these people are non-biased. They have no stakes in this to tell us their honest opinion. And then finally, after we did all of that, we further discussed the pros and cons and determined that GovStack by GHD Digital is the recommended website host for Montgomery Township because of its straightforward front-end usability, digital accessibility, compliance, design flexibility, back-end functionality, IT infrastructure, security, and customer feedback. So some highlights about GovStack. So GovStack is a newer company, which is why you might not have heard of it. But GovStack is a modular, scalable CMS created by GHD Digital in 2023 to meet residents' increasing demands for convenient online access to information. And since 2023, they've created over 1,000 municipal websites, and their CMS service is designed for local governments that want full control over their website without needing advanced technological skill. So some of the key factors we looked at while analyzing this site, and part of why we chose it, is resident-focused designs, accessibility, flexibility while maintaining functionality, and strong IT infrastructure and security, all of which GovStack offered us. So to give you a little more detail, first and foremost, the website should serve our residents. And one of the things I really liked that stood out to me is they said you can get to any content from the homepage in 3 clicks or less, which is very important, especially for people who might not be as technologically savvy. It's just important that they can get that access to information as quickly as possible. They also organize their content based on what residents are clicking. So they analyze website analytics and set up the website based on where they're clicking, not based on what we think is the best thing to put on the front page of the website. Also, they use visual first navigation. So in a world where people are reading less, it's important that they can just look and know what they're looking at, and then they can click on it. And if they want more details, the details are obviously available to them, but they can find what they need quick and easy. Homepage also has integration of news and social feeds, so everything is interconnected. And lastly, there are multiple calendar view options, which is good for accessibility and also just personal preference. Next, as Carolyn said, we need to be ADA compliant with WCAG 2.1 level AA. And because GovStack is a Canadian company, they're actually already compliant at this level. So Canada has slightly different rules. Obviously, they don't have the ADA. That's an American organization. However, they have stricter rules and regulations, and therefore they are already meeting these standards. So this is not new to them, whereas a lot of American companies, they're playing catch up. GovStack is ahead of the curve and appears to have the most comprehensive accessibility features that we found. We also liked that the website fits the township's needs for staff. So they had mix and match templates to simplify staff updates. There were built-in brand kit integration, which is important for the Montgomery Township identity, department level permissions and approval workflows, so we can have our content experts, being department heads or other staff members, only able to edit specific pages. That way the information is as correct as possible, but they can't access other pages to make changes. There are also activity dashboards, so if we wanted to integrate the rec center activities as well as anything happening at the township, such as leaf and yard waste or our community events, we can do that as well. And they offer multi-device content previews. I'm sure all of you have clicked on a website on your phone and had to scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll, but they have an ability to look at it in different formats, not just phone and computer, but different size laptops, tablets, etc. So it's accessible on all different formats. And lastly, the scheduling and unscheduling of content, meaning that we can put something up on the website, schedule it for next week, and it can come off 2 weeks later when that content's no longer relevant. That way we don't have outdated content living on our website. And last, we looked at the IT infrastructure. Now, forgive me, I'm not an IT person, so I'm just going to read what I have here. GovStack meets the township's core technical requirements for security, hosting, and redundancy. The platform is hosted in Microsoft Azure, aligning with the township's Microsoft-based IT environment. Data is stored in the continental United States, supporting potential CJIS compliance needs. The system also integrates with the township's Active Directory, allowing logins to be managed through existing accounts and multi-factor authentication protocols. Azure provides 99.95 uptime service level agreements. So that's my background on GovStack. So the key benefits, obviously, there are stakes involved in this. So for the residents, it is going to be easier navigation. As I said, the goal is to get them there in 3 clicks or less to all the information they need. It has a multi-device friendly design, so no matter where they're looking, they get all the same information. The accessibility is improved, which is not only good for all residents, but especially for residents with disabilities. We need to make sure they have equitable access to all of our information. And finally, thorough organization, which goes along with that easier navigation. The easier it is to look at and find what you need, obviously, the more likely you are to use our website and be able to find the information. For staff, there will be easier content editing, which will reduce the time spent editing on the website. There's role-based permissions and approvals, again, so different departments can get in there and edit their own content, have a little bit of autonomy while also not being able to completely change the website as a whole. There will be centralized and organized document management, so it will be organized in a folder-style system, so you can find what you need by the year or by the department or the committee. And then finally, like I said, content scheduling, which again takes some of the burden off of staff to remember, okay, we have to pull this down and change this. You can schedule things in advance to go up appropriately. And finally, the municipal benefits. So obviously ADA compliance is incredibly important. And with that becomes improved transparency. So the more accessible our information is, the more transparent we can be with our residents. Also, because of the better organized document center, there is better records retention. Make sure that we have everything accessible to our residents, from agendas to minutes to any other additional information that might be relevant. And lastly, of course, our data is securely protected. So a cost breakdown, I have this graph here for you. It is also included in your packet if you want additional details. But one-time cost will be $21,272. And that is for forms implementation, sitemap development, IDP, AD integration, and CMS implementation. And then the annual costs, as Carolyn said, the value is around $8,000 for the CMS and the media manager subscription, but the accessibility compliance monitor and remediation is an additional $12,160. That would be on, well, the whole thing would be on a 5-year contract. So this would be on a 2-year contract, because I believe that if we take the first 2 years to remediate the content that is existing, after that we can reevaluate and do the remediation in-house. The staff should be trained by then to do that, and that would save us that money every year. So this is a timeline overview. I know it's a little hard to read. It should be included in your packet as well. This is a general overview of the timeline. They will provide us with a more specific, personalized timeline after we sign the contract and have our initial meetings, but the project is estimated to take approximately 29 weeks. And so all of that is to say that based on the information gathered in our vetting process, the community engagement and IT offices are recommending GovStack by GHD Digital as the township's new website hosting provider. And I'm happy to answer any questions you have.
I have a bunch. Candace, do you want to go first? Go ahead.
Since the DOJ is mandating this, is there any grant money? Is there anything put out there to help us pay for this that they're mandating?
No.
That's fabulous.
We have looked, there is nothing. We have looked.
Unfunded mandate.
I've asked other communities, there is nothing out there for website.
Okay.
All right. So content scheduling. Let's circle back to that, because the content scheduling tool, is it limited to just what's on the content that's on the website, or can it also schedule content for social?
I believe it is just on the website. We do already have a tool that can schedule our content on social.
And could they be integrated?
I could look into it, but I don't have an answer for you right now.
Okay. I'm just curious because I love the role assignment that this can perform. And if those two things could be integrated, then it would be another great way to be able to like schedule content that's going to be on the website. And it seems like it would reduce like a duplication of effort if you could do it all in one place at one time, but also have those roles assigned to, given people within a department, so that they can't necessarily impact someone else's content on the website or social channel, related to the same updates. So that seems like, and are we paying for that other tool? Is there a way that we could, integrate the two? It's just a question. You don't have to try to answer it now, but I'd be curious to know whether or not, because usually those content scheduling tools have that capability.
Yeah.
And if we could, make that operation more efficient and potentially save in another area, that's something worth exploring and another way to help us offset the cost.
For sure.
And then from a user experience standpoint and the document center, are we going to look at a new naming convention for our documents?
So my plan is to get everything on a consistent naming style. So whether that's you could say the business development partnership November 2025 minutes, like that sort of style, or if it's the date first, that would be something I would want to work with Deb, who does the board minutes and agendas, to make sure we're on the same page. And I agree with you. I think it should be consistent going
Yes.
forward, and that is on my to-do list for as we're transitioning everything to change our old documents to fit that style.
Yeah, I know that's been a stumbling block in the past where people went to go search for documents and there was very inconsistent naming, which led to some challenges on people in identifying the information that they were looking for on the website. So if we could rectify that as a part of this process, that's improving user experience exponentially, I think, already, just by simplifying that part of the process.
Absolutely. And I mean, even having like the full name is important for search engine optimization to make sure if someone's looking for that, it pops up. It's not an abbreviation. So it's something I'm looking into. It is definitely on my to-do list for this project.
Yeah. And AI friendly is a big thing, making sure that the information is easily accessible and I don't know, summarizable. Is that a word? Is easy to be summarized by an AI tool. So is that a part of this process? Is that included, or do they include that sort of like in the scope of work?
So there is an option for additional AI tools that we can add on, but because this was not budgeted for, we decided to potentially pursue that in the future.
Right.
Right now, we're just trying to do the initial transition since this was kind of a shock to us to have to do this project this year. But they do have different AI tools that they offer for an additional cost.
And for their CMS, are just so that I understand, and I guess for the benefit of the board. They're providing the CMS, which is the platform upon which we're building all the content on the site. They're creating all of the page templates. Are they also building out the site with the initial content? So are they flowing all of the content onto the pages, or is that going to be handled internally by you?
Yeah, so they have a included with it. It's technically free. That's why it's not listed in the budget. It's 200 pages of migration. I believe we have somewhere around 80 pages, and then it's the additional documents. So that should all be covered. Obviously, we would have to do some staff, like on the staff side, we would have to do some edits to get it in the style we want. Any updates that we would need to make, that would be on the staff, but they do the transition for us.
And the annual fee for $88.78, is that hosting and support? Is that what's covered in that annual fee?
So that is the CMS subscription itself, and then the media manager subscription. So the media manager is what's going to handle our documents and keep them organized.
Okay. I guess that's all my questions.
So I think I saw that the company is out of Niagara Falls. Was it New York?
Yes.
So will someone like actually come here and work with us if like in person, or?
It's all virtual
It's
as far as I
everything's
know.
okay.
I don't see that being any sort of issue. They offer comprehensive training online as well, which they record, so we can refer back to it, and we can have any staff members who are interested in being content editors involved in that.
And they, I think I heard you say they've been around since 2023.
Correct.
Okay, and now work with 1,000 different.
Yeah, so GHD Digital has been around a lot longer than that. Don't quote me on this, but I believe since the 1920s, maybe, doing a variety of different services. But GovStack is a newer product offered by GHD Digital.
Mm-hmm. And the did you actually, when you said the cold calls, and forgive me, this might be showing my age here, did you like call other municipalities that are using it, other people that, like, who did you call?
So I contacted other municipalities.
Okay.
Yes. It depended on who was working with the website. So I spoke to people in positions similar to mine, PIOs, community engagement. I also spoke to IT professionals. It's managed by different people in different municipalities. So I didn't speak to all of them, but I easily called probably 30 municipalities, and I probably got about 10 to 15 responses.
And so for the most part, they're only 3 years in.
Yes.
Okay. All right. And did you have anyone give you any negative feedback about it? Anything that, you know, oh, if I could create my perfect world, this is what I would do, or I would change, or
Overwhelmingly, it
Mhm.
was positive feedback, which
Okay.
is part of the reason that we wound up deciding on GovStack. But the one thing I had that people said was sometimes getting in there initially can be a little difficult. There's a learning curve to learning how to use the back end system. But after that, once the initial website is set up, everyone said it was smooth sailing and it was very easy to use. So as with anything new, there's
Right.
always going to be an opportunity for learning and of course some difficulties at times.
And I think I heard you say the thought is just to, if we, you know, move forward with them, just a 2-year contract.
So
Because I thought I saw something. I'm sorry to cut you off. I thought I read something that was either 3 or 5 year with a 3% max increase each year. Like they wouldn't. Okay.
Right. So yes, it's a little confusing.
Yeah.
For the CMS, it would be 5 years, and then that digital accessibility, compliance, and remediation, that's separate for 2
That's
years.
separate
And the
for
reason
2.
for
Gotcha.
that
Okay.
is because, like I said, I think we can remediate in those first 2 years, and after that, I don't know that we need them
Need
to
them.
do the remediation because
Gotcha.
at that point, our staff would be trained on how to make our content compliant.
Okay. One is independent of the other. I got you. Okay.
Done?
I am.
Okay, great. Thank you. I have a question about language access. I know this is ADA, but we have a very diverse community, and this is one of the questions that often comes in front of us is how accessible is our content in terms of language access? Are there translation options? Are there anything, or are there options for translation?
I believe they do offer translation services, but I don't have a complete answer for you off the top of my head. I'm
Okay.
happy to look into it and send you an
That's something I think we could should look into. I know obviously not everyone speaks English or fluently. I could not, and so we probably should look into what other options there are just for transparency to all of our residents.
And I just to add on to that, please include or ask about American Sign Language. So actually
Yes.
captions and so forth, because we do
I'm
have a
assuming-
deaf community
Right.
here in
And
our
I'm
community.
assuming the ADA would cover
That
that.
it
I'm not sure
should.
language
I wanna
access
make
is
sure.
covered by the ADA. So I wanted to make sure
Yep.
of that as well.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you.
can look into it for you.
Any other questions or comments from the board? All right. Thank you very much, Ava.
Thank you.
Great presentation.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll move to approve the agreement with GHD Digital for GovStack and authorize the township manager to execute the agreement. Is there a second?
Second.
Any public comment? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, and we're still in administration and finance. Agenda item 15, ratification of the real estate tax appeal settlement 565 DeKalb Pike. Blaine Berge, Director of Finance.
The property at issue, owned by a living trust, is improved with a repair shop. The school district disputing the assessed value of $627,000 filed an appeal for the 2024 tax year following the Board of Assessments issuance of a notice of no change in assessment. The proposed settlement between the taxpayer and the school district would result in the taxpayer owing an additional $3,405 for the 2024-25 tax years, and the assessed value of the property decreasing by $449,890 for the 2026 tax year. The solicitor's office has reviewed the proposed settlement and recommends the Board of Supervisors approve the settlement.
Any questions or comments from the board? Hearing none, I'll move to approve the stipulated settlement for 565 DeKalb Pike and authorize the township solicitor to execute the document on behalf of the township. Is there a second?
Second.
Any public comment? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. And agenda item 16, ratification of real estate tax appeal settlement for 140 Demora Drive. Blaine Berge, Director of Finance.
The property at issue, owned by 140 Demora LLC, is improved with an industrial warehouse. The school district disputing the assessed value of 1.349 million, filed an appeal for the 2024 tax year following the Board of Assessments issuance of a notice of no change in assessment. The proposed settlement between the taxpayer and the school district would result in the taxpayer owing an additional $278.51 for the 2026 tax year. The Solicitor's Office has reviewed the proposed settlement and recommends the Board of Supervisors approve the settlement.
Thank you, Blaine. I'll entertain a motion to approve the stipulated settlement for the 140 Demora Drive and authorize the township solicitor to execute the document on behalf of the township.
So moved.
I'm sorry, he said it.
So moved.
Second.
All right. Any public comment? All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. And moving into old business. Agenda item 17, discuss the proposed amendments to Resolution 2022-03, guidelines established for the Board of Supervisors, public meetings. Carolyn McCreary, Township Manager.
Thank you. At the March 9th public meeting, Supervisor Pelletier brought up the recent emails and letters being sent to the board with the sender requesting that they be read at public meetings. Board consensus at that meeting was to review the resolution identified above and discuss any proposed modifications at your next public meeting. So included in your packet is a copy of Resolution 2022-03, which is memorialized guidelines that had been established for the Board of Supervisors public meetings, and it's available for the board to review and to discuss and give staff any direction this evening.
Supervisor Banford, just so I make a comment, I looked over this resolution. I know a comment was brought up at the last meeting related to reading of comments by various supervisors at different meetings. This resolution is mainly set up to regulate public comment, meaning people that would come up or wish to do this. If the board wishes to regulate supervisor comment, it would have to be done under a different mechanism by Robert's Rules of Order. I've been involved in other municipalities, unfortunately, where meetings got very unruly and they had to do that. But this resolution as it's set up doesn't really address that, or it's not really built for that. I just wanted to make that clear. The one comment related to this resolution I wanted to bring up, and it's been corrected by staff, was there's been a change in case law in the last 2 years where you can't ask for somebody's address. And we've just been asking, hey, are you a resident or business owner of Montgomery Township? We've instructed all our clients to do that. This says address. Now, we've not been doing that in practice, but when we do eventually clean this up, that would be something we would address. Everything else in this resolution will consistent with how public comment is regulated in other places, usually. So the question you have is, do you want to do anything with supervisor comment? That's a little trickier wicket, I'll be honest with you, in a lot of respects. But this resolution deals with public comment.
This was the only resolution
Which
that
they had, yeah,
so that's why
exactly,
we
yeah.
put it in there, because it was referenced
If
at
you
the last
understand
meeting.
the distinction, that's what I'm trying to bring out. Just so before we go down this conversation, I just wanted to bring that to everyone's attention.
So can we maybe just figure that we can be kinder to each other? This was all pushed at me. I read the emails. I have them. I certainly could read their names into the record, but I don't think it's a good road for us to go down to try to quiet anybody's right to speech. So going forward, if someone's going to read an email, put the person's name with it. I mean, it's really not that difficult. I don't think we need to do any changes.
The only concern I have is if we read an email, someone says, can you read it into record? And you do, and you say their name, and then maybe they come back at us and say, I never said you could read that. I never said you could, is there something that if someone send something through and they say, Audrey, Beth, whoever, can you read this into record? I'm not able to get to the meeting. Okay, here's a one pager to sign off that they're giving the okay. Can we do something like that just to kind of cover ourselves in some form or fashion? That's the only thing I feel like this could kind of come back at us. If you read anytime I have read a letter, it has been a situation where someone said, "Can you read it?" I'm like, "You're okay if I say your name?" Because my expectation is I'm going to say your name. I'm not going to just read something and not say a name. So I just don't know. I would just hate for someone to say, "Oh, I never told you could do that." And it's,
I think let's ask our solicitor on the topic of consent. If a resident or a business owner communicates through official township channels or even with one of us one-on-one, and provides us, well, essentially like a written comment like you would receive in an email, are we obligated to read it into the public record, or can we assume that consent has been given since they reached out to us via that formal official communication channel?
One is you have no obligation to read it into the public record. That's merely comment to you as a supervisor. You can do it as you want. You could choose not to read into the public record. I would recommend, I don't think there's any hard and fast rule on this, but I would respond to them and say, thank you very much for your comment. Mind if I address this at the next meeting? And I will state your name and that you're a township resident or business. I think that would cover you. And if they respond yes, then if that's what the individual supervisor wanted to do, then that's up to them.
So would you say the consent is implied? If it's not explicit, is it implied so that if someone read something that was emailed to us without consent, or are we exposing the township to any risk by reading something into the public record that wasn't intended to be used that way?
I think if you, one is, again, there's no hard and fast rule in this. I didn't necessarily research that specifically, but I think you can make the argument that if someone is sending it to a supervisor in a public, at their official township email, and that supervisor went and read it, I think you could argue consent pretty persuasively. You hope you would never get there, but right. I think if it were challenged, you would say, hey, you sent this to me at a public email. I was expressing your views at a public meeting. And that was that person's choice to do that or not to do that.
Okay. But as a courtesy, you recommend.
Yeah, I think taking that next step is probably the safest thing to do.
And is it different if they send it to the Board of Supervisors, which went to all of us, versus just to Beth or just to me? And
I don't think that would matter if something push came to shove with a lawsuit or anything like that. Obviously, it's always best if it was sent to the Board of Supervisors, but if it was sent to an individual supervisor, I don't think a court is necessarily going to distinguish who's chair, who's vice chair, who's an individual supervisor.
Mm-hmm. So there's a couple things at issue here. It's there's an official communication that comes to the board. The person isn't present to actually read it, and a supervisor reads it on their behalf. So there's sort of one part of this issue is that a practice that we want to continue to allow, A, and B, when would be the appropriate time for such a, the reading of a letter. So the public comment section, in public comment, we always make that provision that if there's someone here who wants to speak to an issue that is not included on the agenda, they can come up to the microphone at the beginning of the meeting and give their comment. So, unless there's a comment that has come in related to a specific agenda item, then that public comment section would seem to be the most appropriate place for those types of, letters, if we're going to allow them to be read, and not sort of randomly elsewhere on the agenda. Am I correct? Based on Robert's rules of
I have not. I can look into that specifically if that's exactly covered. I think we're, the question is, how much do you want to regulate that? Does it come up that frequently? How, we could specify that. Would we want to pass a resolution among supervisors asking that be the practice? And that's a question, or is it more gentle person's agreement on how you're going to handle it?
Well, can we agree that if we have received written communication from a resident or a business owner in the township that we feel needs to be read into the public record, that we will A, get the consent of the individual, and B, read it in public comment or on the related to the specific agenda item on the agenda for that meeting? Do we have
I think
consensus
that's
there?
reasonable.
Yeah, I
Seems
mean,
to
I
make
think
sense.
that's been happening. I think it's
Yeah.
sort of has been happening that way with any time. I mean, I definitely take the approach that I don't ask someone, oh, can I read this? I take the approach of, anytime I have read something, it's someone saying, I'm not able to get to the meeting. Can you read this? And then my next question is, are you okay if I say your name? And they're yes. And that's how the approach I take. I never ask, oh, can I read this? And, into anything. And then Tanya, touching on what you're saying, I mean, I feel like anything that's gotten read was the appropriate time at that moment to read it, for, I haven't seen anything, at least I didn't see
Well,
anything like that.
and in question, there was a series of comments that were read into the record, excerpts of comments without individuals' names. So we didn't know whether or not they were township residents. We didn't know whether or not they were township businesses, and it was read under old business. And when I redirected, it was perceived as being rude. I was certainly not intending to be rude, but trying to redirect comments that were being made in a section of the meeting where it was procedurally not appropriate to have those comments read. So if we can just all agree that, this is how we're going to proceed moving forward, I think we can avoid any sort of unpleasantness, if you will, related to when things are not read into the record. Is that acceptable?
Okay with that?
That works.
I'm good with that.
Okay,
All right.
thank
Okay.
you. All right, moving on to agenda item 18, new business department reports. So this month, Carolyn McCurry and Blaine Berge are going to present information on the Capital Reserve Fund.
Let me just go into presentation mode.
While you're setting that up, the reason I asked Blaine to put this together is there have been some statements made at recent meetings that the township, as part of its budget, was spending way more than it was bringing in that year, and that this was, mismanagement of funds. And so I thought maybe we need to do a better job explaining how the capital investment plan came to be, how money has been allocated to that, and how we've accumulated reserves that we're now using. So I asked Blaine to put something together, and this is it.
So just 3 quick slides here. This slide shows, the chart shows that the capital expenditures planned for 2026 are funded by surpluses accumulated in earlier years rather than by deficit spending. The 2026 spending reflects the use of previously reserved excess funds allocated for this purpose. So you can see in 2020, the fund balance was 8 or 9 million, whatever it is, and with bond proceeds, it jumped up to over 20 million in 2021, and then we have been spending those reserves down since then. So it is not that we are spending more than we're bringing in; we're spending what we have brought in prior years. And the issue is just come up that we're spending too much of the reserve. So this is just kind of to show that we are spending money that has been accumulated in the past that specifically needs to be spent on capital reserve items.
So in 2020, there was no capital investment plan for the township. There was no 5-year plan, if you will. We put together a 5-year plan. We talked to department heads. This was not a wish list. A lot of this had been assets that had been neglected, that had extended beyond their useful life, that including fire trucks, including traffic signals. Some of our paving projects had been put off. So we were able to secure, with the approval of the board, $15 million at 1.76%. Because the rationale was, since these assets have a very long useful life, it should not be on the backs of taxpayers, residents, business owners at that particular time. This should be stretched forward for the actual useful life of those assets. So to Blaine's point, you'll see in 2021, it went up dramatically. But again, that 5-year plan, we had been spending it out. And you'll notice that in 2026, it's estimated that we'll have about $5 million. Well, what wasn't stated was that we've already started looking at 2027 and what we're going to need to spend. And again, I will commend every single department head. They do not come in with pie in the sky desires, everything they want. There's a rationale for whenever we can apply for grants, whether it's the state level. We just applied for our first federal appropriation. We just submitted applications in for Knapp Road culverts, which are deteriorating to the point where we had to reduce the weight limit on them to buy us some time. We estimate that project is going to be $2.4 million. So we put in an appropriation request to both Senator McCormack and Senator Fetterman's office, as well as asked to be put on Congressman Fitzpatrick's list, stating the rationale for those projects, the estimated cost, that it came from an engineer. It wasn't just a number. And then we also had to prove that we have been successful in applying for grants and then using those funds and administering the grants in the past. So we've done all that. We submit the last one in today before close of business. So now we wait. That is for fiscal year 27. So if we got that money next year, then we'd be able to go out to bid on Knapp Road. So we have tried as much as possible, but the reality is, as our township ages, so does our infrastructure, so do our playgrounds. So we've done as much, the tennis courts that you approved tonight, that extends the life of them. We're not saying dig them up, replace them. The improvements that we're making at Whistle Stop Park, it's to put safe playground equipment in, as well as amenities, and take care of the stormwater situation that we've had as a problem over there. So I think this really depicts it. It's no different than, in my mind, if I know I'm going to buy a major purchase that's not in my normal monthly budget, and I start saving money for it. And then when I finally have enough money, I spend it. And it looks like I've spent down, or I'm deficit spending, but I'm really not. I'm spending what I've accumulated because I knew it was coming. So whether it's an HVAC system at home or someone's buying a car, and you accumulate the money, and then you get to that point where it's needed, and then you go ahead and spend it.
Thank you for that explanation.
Blaine, one more slide I think you have. This one's really difficult to read, but the bottom line is, as of March, our expenditures are almost $784,000 below budget, which is a 23% saving. So we had that glitch in February. We had some things come in over budget, but we also knew that, and I give Public Works and our township engineers a lot of credit, because I have pushed to try to get these bids out earlier and earlier. When people don't know what work they have coming up for the year, they tend to sharpen their pencils more, and it's evidenced by the ones that you just awarded tonight.
Thank you for quantifying that. That's significant. Any other questions or comments from the board on that report? Or any of the other department reports? All right, we'll move on to agenda item 19. New business committee board liaison reports. Who would like to go first?
I'll start. Planning Commission did not have a meeting. Shade Tree had a meeting, but not enough people showed up, so nothing happened.
Yeah. The Shade Tree has a big event coming up in April.
Yes. Yes, they do.
Public Safety and Rec Center have not had meetings, so coming up.
The Sewer Authority and the Business Development Partnership both met And sewer authority was pretty quick. We had a really quick meeting, and there wasn't really, anything substantive. That I, need to report on. But I will say, in business development partnership, we were talking about, the economy, the environment, and the struggle that I think our car dealers are all faced with in trying to move new vehicles. They've got increased prices, and with interest rates not being particularly desirable, they're having a hard time moving new vehicles. Used vehicles, on the other hand, are moving fast. So there's a lot of business in previously owned vehicles versus new vehicles. And of course, all of this is particularly relevant to me because my car died
Today.
today.
Don't tell anyone.
Yes.
You're not desperate.
So all those car dealers will probably be seeing a visit from me soon.
Yes.
That's my report.
Okay. I will start with the Environmental Advisory Committee. We have April, which is kind of the biggest month out of the year for environmental because we have Earth Day. Our flagship event of the year is our e-recycling event, which will take place on April 18th from 12 noon at Windlestoy Park. You do need to pre-register so that they have kind of a timed entry, so that we don't have super long lines. It makes it more efficient for everyone. But I will add, there are sometimes some minor fees for some of the harder to recycle items. However, Pico has come forward this year, and they are going to waive the fee for window air conditioners, dehumidifiers, and mini fridges. So if you want to be a little more thrifty on your recycling, and who wouldn't be, then you should probably look and put this on your calendar for April 18th for e-recycling. We also have a few things which I will nail down with details in our next meeting in early April, but we have lots of exciting things going on with some demos for how to replace your lawn with native plants. We're going to do a little demo at the rec center, and we're actually going to do a movie viewing as well called The Extraordinary Caterpillar, and talking about the importance of having pollinators in your yard. And then we also talked with the Parks Board, which is also one of my committees, is doing together with the EAC a joint, maybe doing a park cleanup. So I've talked to, so on or around Earth Day, the community can come in and help. This could be something that across generations, people can come in and help. But Greg will help us identify the location and time and make sure that's a safe and fun event for families to come together. Another project I've worked on, which isn't a committee, but I think I'll include it in this right now because there are some signs that are going up around the township about voting precinct realignments. So I thought this would be a time that I could bring this up. We all vote we have 5 different locations throughout the township, and we have 8 different precincts. And our population has grown considerably over the past 20-25 years that I've lived here. And yet the precincts have remained the same. So that means that the numbers of people voting in these precincts have ballooned to above 4,000 to above 5,000 in some of them, in 8 and 9 and 3. So working with voter services, our solicitor, and working with the county solicitor, we are actually going to have a date where we're going to go into bring this to court to say we do need to have 3 of our precincts, 3, 7, and 9 will be split in half approximately. This is going to do nothing for representation. It will make the lines shorter. That's all we're going to be doing on this. There's no nefarious backstory to what we're doing here, except for trying to make the voting precincts reflect where our population is and what they try to aim to have in terms of target number of voters per precinct. This should make our lines shorter. And so that date is March 31st at the Norristown Courthouse in courtroom number 11 at 1:30 p.m. So that's coming up soon. If anyone has anything to say over this or wants to watch it, please come and Hopefully we'll have an easier way to vote in person in Montgomery Township. That's
to,
all. Yes.
to add on to that, if you said it, forgive me, that they're not moving to another location.
Correct.
They are still.
Well, that will be decided at
Well,
this, right?
right.
And the other thing I will say is this will not be in effect until the general election. It will not be in effect in the May primary. This will not go in effect until the fall, November general election. So yes. Right. And that's, if you have any questions, please call. You can give me a call, the township, Carolyn Fordham on me, and I'll answer the questions that I can. Something I've been working on since before I even became a supervisor. I was like, these lines are too long. So on my to-do list, finally checking it off.
Thank you for that report.
And so I'll give a quick update with my seniors. I don't know what's been in their Cheerios, but they are coming to the meetings with great ideas lately. And they always have, but they've really been wonderful ideas. So we had our meeting this past Wednesday, and two kind of, I'll say, big things going on. I'll say big things. I'm looking at the flyer because we were throwing around what it's going to look like. Want to kick off a walking club. And so we're just first going to have kind of an informational session to see, hopefully folks will come out and share, like, do we want to go to different parks every week, or do we want to start just at the rec center and going around there? So more to come on that, but we are nailing down a date and so forth for that. The day of the meeting, Wednesday, that was one of our seminars, which have to give another shout out to Tina Stahl, our newly elected tax collector, and Julianne Ramick both came and presented. Julianne is one of our school board directors. They had, albeit a very small group, they had a wonderful presentation. I mean, really, really nice. And so it was, great of them to come and do that for us on tax rebate. I'm sorry, did I even say what it was about? With regard to the tax rebate that folks can get through the school board. So that is, and then another idea that has come up, nothing for this year, but they're starting to run with it, is, we have the Montgomery County Senior Games, and the seniors want to look at something just township. Montgomery Township senior Games. So more to come on that. Nothing this year. This is something but two of our folks went to a meeting. Matter of fact, that Wednesday they left early because they were going to a meeting to speak on the just on a county level to get some ideas. Of course, we wouldn't be able to do it to the grander scale initially that they do, because they're kind of all over the place. But we were just talking about our various parks, our rec center, and what, we couldn't do maybe all of the games that the seniors do on the county level, but year one might be 5 of them, 5 of the 14, whatever, and that's what we're starting to toss around. So stay tuned, more to come with that. That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
Thank you for that report. Okay. Is there any other business to come before the board? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Any public comment? Have a great night, everyone.
Reach out to John about Amy. Or did you already?